You know you're full of shit when your message is about as convincing as this guy's.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm a Christian, but you don't need to be in the pew every Sunday to know that there's something wrong in this country when gays can serve openly in the military, but our kids can't openly celebrate Christmas or pray in school. As president, I'll end Obama's war on religion.
Actually, let me start over. You know, there really aren't many more serious crimes than gang rape, which means there aren't many things that you can falsely accuse people of than gang rape.
You didn't give them a chance to respond, and you accused them of gang rape.
Enter states' right are feminists. Flashback.
Let's turn to the reporter who wrote the story for Rolling Stone. She is Sabrina Rubin Erdely.
Well, we were looking to address the problem of rape on college campuses. This is an issue that's being discussed everywhere, and we were looking to really investigate what does it really look like on the ground level when there's a rape at college.
Sabrina Rubin Erdely went off to find evidence of rape culture on campus, whether it existed or not. You know, feminist research.
Each video in this new series will be between 10 and 20 minutes long, with well-researched, in-depth analysis.
7 men took turns raping the 18-year-old over 3 hours. 2 others watched, according to the piece.
And with the story fitting her prejudices that well, why the hell should she care if it was true or not? And boy, did the feminists lap it up.
This is an intolerable act that needs to stop now. I'm really, really, really furious at the culture of rape.
Facts were wrong. The date of the accused of the alleged rape, which is almost a capital crime, used to be one, is wrong. The fact that these 2 people worked together is wrong. The fact that a person who was accused of this act of felony act didn't work at the place they said he did.
According to the Post, a student who came to Jackie's aid that night now says she did not appear physically injured, as told by Rolling Stone.
A 5-month police investigation led to this conclusion.
There is no substantive basis to conclude what is described in that article happened that night.
The University of Virginia asked the Charlottesville Police Department to look into allegations of a 2012 gang rape at its Phi Kappa Psi fraternity house. The incident was described in graphic detail in a bombshell article in the November 2014 issue of Rolling Stone magazine.
When I first encountered Jackie, I was absolutely shocked by her story. She went to the administration and told them that she had been gang raped at a fraternity house by 7 men while 2 others watched. And the administration did nothing about it.
This after the magazine admitted discrepancies in the story of the young woman who went by Jackie. Doubt has been cast on 3 key allegations. In a statement Phi Kappa Psi fraternity issued late last week, it denies there was a social event at the house the weekend of the alleged rape. That there was a fraternity that was having parties and holding fraternity rush and so forth, that it had numerous now allegations against it for gang rape, but nobody was ever warned. The accuser told Rolling Stone her rape appeared to be part of a fall pledging ritual, but the fraternity says initiations only happen in the spring and that ritualized sexual assault is not part of any initiation process.
The alleged victim, a woman identified only as Jackie. She remembers every moment of the next 3 hours of agony, during which she says 7 men took turns raping her, she told the magazine.
As I kept reporting, it just became clear that other facts, just weren't lining up right.
A reporter for the Washington Post interviewed Jackie after the Rolling Stone article came out. He says her statements to him contradicted Rolling Stone's reporting. The idea that they didn't know some of the details of Jackie's case, that sounds a little disingenuous to me, only because when I approached Jackie about this article, she was very forthcoming about all the details.
She said, well, maybe the party wasn't at Phi Psi, and then she told me that maybe the person who attacked her wasn't a member of the fraternity at all.
She remembers every moment of the next 3 hours of agony.
In its expanded apology of its shoddy reporting said, oh, well, this alleged victim, Jackie, she spoke about her assault. Her friends believed it. The rape activists on campus believed it. She spoke at the rape activist, seminars. So what? That doesn't mean anything. That proves nothing.
However, it turns out that basically every fact that could be checked on this turned out to be bullshit. But in the world of feminism, facts really aren't that important, as was shown with the I Stand With Jackie hashtag campaign, or in this amazing display by Amanda Marcotte.
Does this just put, sort of Jackie's story into absolute tatters? I mean, people are now sort of saying, well, that's it, it was a lie in the first place. Is that the conclusion that you jumped to?
No, I mean, I think they were going to say that no matter what, no matter how airtight it was. I mean, the detail, like, it's really shameful to see the Rolling Stone throw their source under the bus and basically insinuate that she's lying.
What the hell? So Amanda Marcotte's great feminist reasoning is that, well, they wouldn't have believed her anyway. And that somehow means that the utterly discredited Rolling Stones mass rape on campus victim hasn't been discredited. What planet are these munchkins from? I mean, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised, though. I mean, feminist research.
I mean, Rolling Stone, they sent a reporter to Harvard, to Yale, to other elite universities trying to find a rape story. She set out to find somebody who would talk about rape as a problem on a college campus.
You know, it's like creationist research. You start with your prejudices and look for evidence to reinforce them. Yeah, as the editorial staff of the Wall Street Journal said, Miss Eardley did not construct a story based on facts, but went looking for facts to fit her theory. You know, feminist research.
As you might imagine, this project requires an enormous amount of research.
But I do think that we are on the cusp of some kind of cultural change, and the reason for saying that is just the idea that we are listening to these rape victims for the very first time. I mean, that is a huge shift.
There you go, pure research gold from our Rolling Stones reporter. We are only now, in 2014, starting to listen to rape victims for the first time. Actually, I'm pretty certain that rape's been against the law for quite a long time now. But let's remind ourselves of what this story, which appears to have no factual basis, proves to feminists.
Before I say anything else, I have to thank you, Sabrina, for writing this. I think you've done a tremendous act of public service, and I'm genuinely very, very grateful.
Thank you.
It is hard to read an article like this and avoid the conclusion that we live in a culture that hates women, just hates us. It's hard to read an article like this and conclude that the men in this culture, boys and men in this culture, are raised to see women as not just less than them, but in some cases as less than human.
Well, that's certainly what Sabrina was thinking when she was tweeting and retweeting stuff like this. Of all the shocking things I came across, I think that's what shocked me the most. Women perpetuating rape culture. And Cindy Gallup says, the more privileged he is, the more likely the woman has to die before he's held accountable. To which Sabrina says, makes the blood boil, doesn't it? Thanks for reading my article and spreading the word. And that my hope is that the fraternities at UVA and elsewhere will embrace this opportunity to be leaders in turning the tide against rape. And very encouraging by all the notes I'm getting from men who are sickened by rape and rape culture and want to be part of the solution. Not to state the obvious, but enlightened men are key to fixing the rape epidemic. It's so good to have you on board. Let's recruit more. Well, actually, Sabrina, as an enlightened man, one of those who you think is key to fixing this stuff, let me just give you a helping hand in order to fix something. First of all, you must show it exists. And honestly, so far, your best efforts have only served to highlight why we shouldn't believe agenda-driven feminists, rather than that this rape culture even exists.
Well, the college rape epidemic meme went viral at the same time that rates of violent crime, including rape, were falling dramatically.
And then she trusted you to do the right thing, along with a photo of just how much feminists understand the concept of innocent until proven guilty. Or at least until a competent non-feminist reporter has taken a look at the case. Seriously, she was proud of this feminist lynch mob her article inspired to take pitchforks and go and stand outside some innocent frat house. Bravo! And of course, the moment of unintentional irony. You know that UVA gang rape case, the one with no grounding in reality? Well, according to Sabrina, that ain't the exception. That's the norm.
I mean, part of the reason why I chose University of Virginia is because I felt that it was really representative of what was going on at campuses across the country. When I spoke to experts, they told me that the scary truth is that if you dig deep enough, really in any campus, this is probably what you will find. That what happens at University of Virginia is probably not the exception. It's probably, this is the norm.
Well, it certainly is when it's a feminist reporter. And what's the take-home message that the university wants to get out of this high-profile case about a woman making these utterly baseless accusations of gang rape against a bunch of guys? Could it be that we shouldn't lynch people because of agenda-driven feminists? Yeah, I mean, let's just take a leaf out of their book. I mean, don't we need some sort of mechanism in place to protect men from such false accusations? Because we do know who the real victims were in this case. I don't know, maybe we need some sort of mandatory induction class for all women to attend at the university so that they can educate themselves about how making false accusations of gang rape is wrong. And if they're found engaging in such serious activities, that they will be suspended from the university and that the university will facilitate the victim to pursue a prosecution. You know, we should always help the victim out, right? And in this case, it's pretty clear who they are. Now, apparently the university doesn't view this making false accusations of gang rape that seriously. Now, the lesson the university learns from this whole fiasco is, but what about the women?
Overall, the students say it's very clear that sexual assault prevention, as a result of this article, became a very, significant and hotly debated topic on campus. And if anything, it's raised the awareness of the issue, and that it's generated a lot of conversation, which they say is positive. And among the students, it's pretty clear that even one sexual assault on campus is one too many.
Seriously, if these guys were watching the film Hang 'em High, where a bunch of people lynch an innocent guy for cattle rustling, the lesson that they would learn isn't that lynching people is wrong, but that cattle rustling is a serious crime. But let's just step back to this MSNBC program for a second, because that looks familiar.
Last week, we talked to Anita Sarkeesian about the violent threats against her as a result of her criticism of misogyny in online gaming. Threats made mostly, presumably, by male gamers who are rallying under an online movement generally referred to as #Gamergate.
Are you shitting me? You have a feminist on who accuses people of gang rape on your very show, and you're all rah, rah, rah. Just look how these feminists falsely accusing men of rape shows how much men are raised to see women as less than human. And then without showing any evidence, you just assert that Gamergate is a hate movement. Based on what exactly? Oh, based on your presumption.
Threats made mostly, presumably, by male gamers who are...
Really? Like no one in Gamergate ever gets doxed or threatened? Oh, well, let me borrow something from you here. Presumably by feminists, thereby showing that feminism is mostly a hate movement that just violently threatens people who offer critical analysis of feminism. But yeah, let's take a look at that great ABC article that showed that Gamergate was a hate movement. Why, for some completely unexplained reason, it's got the same sort of approval rating as the Texan who thought that something was wrong with America when gays can serve openly in the military. Well, let me just judge your feminism by your own standards. You must think that feminism is primarily a hate movement where they go around falsely accusing people of gang rape. I mean, the proof is right there in front of you on your own show where you get this feminist on who puts out a story for which there is no evidence and all the feminists cheer rah, rah, rah. And you think that that story proves that we live in a society where men are raised to see women as less than human. Seriously, what pisses me off here is the credibility of real female victims is simply thrown under the bus by a bunch of liberal arts degree first world feminists for whom hardship consists of getting a round of applause instead of jazz hands. And if only I were joking, the women at the national student event feel that clapping can create anxiety. All of this throws the credibility of real victims under the bus, just so a bunch of talentless, rich, white, liberal feminists can play, oh look how persecuted we are, professional victim. I mean, you tell me, Who does more to undermine the credibility of women? Seriously, clapping gives these people anxiety. I mean, is it any wonder that they see a rapist behind every tree and a rape culture on every campus?